Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to non-charter qualifying for race number 29 of Season 4 of the NCAA Duracell Cup Series. Getting ready for the 6 drivers to transfer their way into the Brickyard 400, one of the big 4 on the schedule. Of course, the Daytona 500, the Throne of Games 500 at Darlington Raceway. Everybody wants to win that. Everybody wants to be able to win the Brickyard 400 here. And the Coca-Cola 600, which was run, obviously, earlier on this season. Dylan Poteet's going to line up on the point for this one. Of course, a former winner in one of the heat races back at the Chili Bowl. He'll be alongside of Joshua Osborne, highest qualifying Dodge. No Limits Racing makes up the entirety of row 2 with N Amoedo and Pedro Lucas. And then it's all Dodges in row 3 with T Gehrdes on the inside and Rob Evans, who took a checkered flag in the non-charter race here at this very track earlier on this season, but it was the road course configuration during the Indy Grand Prix. 16 laps of racing here for this non-charter qualifying event. Seems like a short sprint, but it is 2.5 miles in length, so it will take them some time to get around as the green flag is flying. Let's roll at the Brickyard. So two of the big stories coming here into this race is obviously the fact that this track is going to be where 4 drivers' playoff hopes will come to an end, as this is the first elimination race of the chase. Other thing we're going to be talking about as well, especially here during this race, is the Rookie of the Year battle that has been raging on for the last couple of weeks, and it's starting to come to a head. You will notice that this is not the usual Indianapolis that we have run at in the past. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, normally a very low banked track. That's why it's so technical, but we're running at a banked version of Indianapolis here for the elimination race. So a bit of a curveball here for these drivers to have to get used to. Many of them have run the 3 previous seasons here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and used to an entirely different configuration, so having to kind of get used to something else. That's what the charter drivers later on today will have to deal with as well. You saw right there the closing rate of T Gehrdes getting to the inside of Pedro Lucas. That's going to be one of the things they're going to have to deal with. With the higher banking, there's less of a need to really get on the brakes. And so there's going to be different drivers with different lifting points going into the turns. And there you can see right there, late move to the inside for Joshua Osborne, trying to get the inside of Dylan Poteet, and had to lift maybe just a little bit too much there to avoid pushing up into the LS Tractor Chevrolet. Now we talk about that Rookie of the Year battle. Right there is one of the prime contenders for it, S Ozkan. 3 points back from the current rookie points leader, D Schwallenberg. Of course, Schwallenberg a former winner this season, as this time Joshua Osborne is going to complete the pass into turn 1 on Dylan Poteet to take the race lead. There's another driver that's very much in the battle for Rookie of the Year honors, Pedro Lucas, 10 points back, 3rd in the overall rookie standings. And Schwallenberg, you see right there, running around the 9th, 10th position in the Advanced Auto Parts Toyota Camry. Right now, your current rookie points leader. Of course, a big part of that is the fact that Dylan Schwallenberg, as Poteet's going to take the lead back from Osborne. Schwallenberg, of course, a winner, getting his first career win in the charter race back in one of the Chili Bowl heats. He, along with Michael Wayne Robinson and Tristan Allen, are 3 rookie winners this season. And all 3 of them winning on dirt. Schwallenberg and Robinson at the Chili Bowl. Tristan Allen followed up with a win at Bristol Dirt. And Lucas now looking for the top spot on Dylan Poteet as M Ozkan to the inside of Joshua Osborne, who's been kicked up to the top of the racetrack. Obviously, as we know, one driver that was in the charter series for most of the season, but because Chris Dollerton got moved up to the charter system being a playoff contender, one driver had to move down. That's K Mathews. Mathews did not make the race in the last 2 attempts. And now trying to see if he can make what would be his 27th start on the year. Right now being scored in the 13th position. We'll see how that updates to. I think he's actually running higher than that. Nope. Actually, he's running in 14th and dropping more. as he lifted quite a ton there going into turn 1. Battle for second. Osborne to the inside of Lucas. Tyler Gehrdes down there to offer drafting help, if there is any, to his fellow challenger. Right now, your final transfer spot's going on between RJ Bishop and Will Goss. Edges ahead by half a car length does Bishop. But Goss going to battle back on the top side heading into turn 4. It's Daniel Voyles up on the top behind the 20. 66 of Quentin Moore on the inside as Bishop takes control for the time being of the 6th and final transfer position. Poteet continues to show the way. Whoa, he's going to get some help from behind from Pedro Lucas. He takes the S Ozkan with him. Caution's going to fly. Look out. Rest of the field. Someone got Poteet. Oh, several drivers got him. And, there's at least 7 cars piled up there. Taurus, Michael Roode, Harrison Ponder, A Sampsell. Caution is going to fly. I talked about those braking zones, those lifting points. That is the trouble that you can run into with this kind of an Indianapolis banked version. And that was at the very front of the field. That has completely changed up what our top 6 look like. As we are racing back here still to the caution flag. Joshua Osborne going to lead him back over Tyler Gehrdes, Will Goss, Daniel Voyles, RJ Bishop, and now Quentin Moore up into the top 6. Now Michael Roode's day is done. He'll not be in the Brickyard 400. Look at all the damage on that machine. The whole right front wheel well is gone. Left rear quarter panel is pushed in almost literally into the crush panel in the driver's side door. There's Pedro Lucas, who was in a transfer spot. He's the one that made the contact with Dylan Poteet, sent him down to the 70th Cement Ozkan. Dawson Wise, he won't be going into the Brickyard 400, nor will Harrison Ponder. And there is Dylan Poteet, who started on the pole and led almost every lap up to this point and got punted from behind. There's some front end damage there on A Sampsell. Right side damage on the Domino's Camry of Taurus. That Cement Ozkan might have gotten through relatively unscathed. He definitely has got some damage around that right front quarter panel, and Poteet came down into him, but he might have been the one driver that was involved in the wreck that got away with the least amount of damage. Obviously, though, he's going to lose quite a bit of track position as Michael Roode, you see the smoke from his 00 lingering just ahead of race leader Joshua Osborne. He's just now bringing that wounded car onto the pit lane. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Almost to the halfway point here of the non-charter qualifying race here at Indianapolis, and caution number 1 has flown. The thing that's interesting about this is Dylan Poteet was the race leader. So you would think being out there in clean air and not having to worry about somebody else's braking zone that he'd actually be able to drive into the corner deeper. That was interesting there. I'm not really sure what to make of that as he kind of drifted up the track going into turn 1. I don't know if he was having a problem. I was trying to get out of people's way, but that was rather peculiar. Oh, nowhere for Dawson Wise to go. Michael Roode's in the back of the 81. As Pedro Lucas was trying to get his car refired, everybody that got into Dylan Poteet and then went sliding into the wreck with Dawson Wise, they slide into him, and he finds himself in the middle of a melee. There is Cement Ozkan going around. Like I said, he was the one that basically got through unscathed despite getting a piece of the action. There's just no reaction time either. These drivers are taking these corners at almost 185 miles per hour. It's almost like a super speedway race in effect for some of these guys, the amount of RPMs that they are turning, and there's not a whole lot of reaction time, not a lot of time to be able to slow down, and not a whole heck of a lot of room to be able to avoid as well. Maybe a high banking, but you can't really turn the car from top to bottom in the blink of an eye. So a lot of drivers with torn up race cars, and they will not be advancing into the main event later on today. Let's go back and see of the remaining drivers who they will be, as we should have probably about half the race still left to go when we get the green flag for the restart. First caution of the day flies here at Indianapolis. Lights out atop the pace car, and the fallout from the incident we just saw is going to put Harrison Ponder 1 lap down He will start at the tail end of the field, though, because there are going to be less than 10 laps remaining, so there will not be a lap car on the inside line for race leader Joshua Osborne to have to contend with. Pedro Lucas, Michael Roode, Dawson Wise, and Dylan Poteet, they will not reach the conclusion of this race. Drivers like S Ozkan, Joshua Taurus, and A Sampsell towards the rear of the field, they do have some damage in some way, shape, or form, so they may be off the pace at a track where especially you want that car to be pristine as possible, so it will be aerodynamically sound with these very long straightaways. So right now, your top 6 that would transfer in as they run would be Joshua Osborne, the race leader, Tyler Gehrdes in 2nd, Will Goss 3rd, Daniel Voyles 4th, RJ Bishop in 5th, and Quentin Moore right now in the 6th position. Drivers on the outside looking in as we will be getting the restart with 6 laps to go. Dylan Schwallenberg 7th, Rob Evans in 8th, N Amoedo in 9th, and Justin Dearborn is going to complete the top 10. Obviously, I have no doubt that the drivers will be taking part in the Charter Series later on today. They are up there in the skyboxes, on the haulers, in the haulers, watching this race. I mean, I think that all eyes are glued onto this race because none of these guys know what to expect. It's the first time that this type of an Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been on a Duracell Cup Series schedule, and as we just saw right there, drivers had difficulty adjusting up inside the front of the field of where the lifting zones were, but I've almost wondered if there was something a little bit more behind the scenes that we don't know about, because that seemed like a very high and slow entry to turn 1 for Dylan Poteet. So hopefully we can follow up on that, get an idea of just what happened, because nobody's really taken that high an entry into the corner so far this entire weekend. And Poteet was losing some speed up there too, so I almost wonder if he was having a problem trying to get out of everybody's way and just didn't do it in time as the battle for the final transfer spot is on. Dylan Schwallenberg took a look there on Quentin Moore. Moore is going to slide all the way down towards the inside line. The back straightaway, though, slam the door and keep that 6th spot for the time being. Osborne slipped up a little bit there, opened the door for Tyler Gehrdes. Gehrdes, however, could not complete the pass. Tucks back in line in the 2nd position. We've been seeing some passing here in this race. Maybe more so drivers getting passed than drivers doing the passing. Oh boy, that's a tight corner there in turn 1. And we nearly just had our top 3 wreck again. This time the 56, 69, and 20 almost making some contact. But I'm almost wondering, you know, we talk so much about it, the short tracks and the road courses. Drivers, they battle in these non-charter races. They want the highest possible starting position because track position is so important. I wonder if that's the case here. I don't know how quickly drivers that start at the rear of the field later on today for the Brickyard 400, how quickly they'll be able to move their way to the front just based on the type of racing we're seeing right now. So, if you're a Tyler Gehrdes, right now, you're running in 2nd, you'd be in a transfer spot, you'd be starting 38th for the Brickyard 400. Are you comfortable with that starting position, or do you want to take this win and start 1 spot higher on the inside line at 37th? Ooh, contact there. A little bump and run at Indianapolis. I mean, when do we ever say that? Going to get at least halfway alongside of Joshua Osborne, but can he stay there? Coming onto the back straightaway. Ooh, I don't think he got back to the throttle quite as soon as the 56. Osborne keeps the top spot. Tyler Gehrdes saw Daniel Voyles come with a head of steam, and that was a very risky block. Daniel Voyles, I think, lifted for him, but there was no guarantee that that was going to be a courtesy paid there. Is Will Goss going to go around the outside of RJ Bishop to take the 4th position. And the transfer spot is under contest. Justin Dearborn on the inside. Dylan Schwallenberg on the top. Inside line going to prevail off the final corner. And Dearborn's going to take the spot. Will Goss ducking to the inside of Daniel Voyles. My goodness. Tyler Gehrdes. I don't know if there was a block thrown there or not, but it certainly was close between those 2 dodges. Will Goss got back to the throttle nicely there through the center of 1 and 2. Pulls right up to the back bumper of Tyler Gehrdes. That 20 car looks fast. He's one that's definitely making some passes, making some moves. See if he's going to take some momentum down the back straightaway. Look to the inside of Tyler Gehrdes. Nope, Gehrdes instead with that late move there on Joshua Osborne. That's going to be interesting too. I mean, a lot of times when we're at tracks like this, especially the Indianapolis 500, when we watch the IndyCars race here, if you're going to make a move on somebody, especially early on in a race, and you don't want them to wreck you, make that move at least halfway down the back straightaway, if not before. Don't make it real late. And these late moves that we're seeing here going into turns 1 and 3, it could lead to some yellows later on today. As Joshua Osborne had to really bail the throttle, and we got a car down there on the apron. Quentin Moore got crowded down there by Justin Dearborn. I don't know if Dearborn thought that he could take it 3 wide with Moore and Osborne, but that was a close call there. Nicely done by Quentin Moore to keep that thing going in a straight line, because normally you've got your left sides down there on the flat apron, your right side's up on a banking area of turn 1 and 2. That car is more than likely going to snap around on you. Top 3 have been able to pull away. Dodge, Toyota, Ford. As soon as I say that, though, I think Tyler might have checked up those 2, and that brings Joshua Osborne right back to the bumper of the 63 as the white flag will be displayed, this time by Will Goss. Has been a man on a mission. He has worked his way up into the top 5. Can he pick up this win? He takes a look to the inside of Tyler Gehrdes. Oh, we got a couple cars up in the wall. Quentin Moore was one of them, and Dearborn was the other. Ooh, they had that contact in turn 1 the last time. I almost wonder if there was some payback there. It's going to cost the both of them, though. They have both now fallen outside of the top 6. That battle for 6th right now, it's being held by R.J. Bishop. Schwallenberg's going to take a look down to the inside. Arthur Xavier up there in the 24 now as Will Goss. Make that Daniel Voyles, actually, to the inside of Tyler Gehrdes through the final corner. Can he keep it in the throttle? He can, and he will clear. Daniel Voyles is going to come around. He'll pick up his 2nd non-charter victory on the year, and he's transferring into the Brickyard 400. Tyler Gehrdes crosses 2nd. Will Goss, Joshua Osborne, Arthur Xavier, and Dylan Schwallenberg snipes the final spot into the main event later on today. R.J. Bishop comes up 6/100ths short of racing his way in, finishing in 7th with Tristan Allen, Quentin Moore, and Rob Evans. That's going to be your top 10. Only 6 make it in. Daniel Voyles will be making his 6th start on the season with this victory here today. He will be rolling off 37th for the Brickyard 400 later on this afternoon. Tyler Gehrdes in 69, he'll be making start number 7 on the season. Will Goss will be making his 5th start on the year. Joshua Osborne, he will be taking his 10th green flag of the season later on today. Arthur Xavier will be taking his 9th. And Dylan Schwallenberg, of course, a former winner this season, he will be making his 11th career charter start in the Duracell Cup Series later on today. And even more importantly, Schwallenberg's going to make it into the main event, while the other 4 that are inside the top 5 in the rookie points, they did not transfer. So Schwallenberg could grow his rookie points lead, dependent on where he finishes against the other rookies later on this afternoon. The other highest rookie to make it into this race is going to be Joshua Osborne, and he's 7th in the rookie points, 15 points back behind Schwallenberg. So there's a look at the way that they finished. One caution here today. It was at the front of the field, but I'll tell you what, just based off the racing that we just saw right there, in only a 16-lap sprint, man, I cannot wait until we get to our main event later on today. One of the historic races, the Brickyard 400, one of your crown jewel, your 4 crown jewel races. And more importantly than all of that, we're going to be finding out who were the 12 drivers, the 12 survivors to move on. We already know one of them. We know Dylan Young's moving on, but with last week Jacob Thibodeau taking the checkered flag at the Charlotte Roval, there's still 11 spots up for grabs for drivers to either win or point their way in. And 4 drivers at the end of this week, they will be trying to just finish out the season with as many wins and points as they possibly can. They will no longer be battling for the championship. So a lot on the line later on today. Hope you guys can tune in for that. Congratulations to Daniel Voyles on the win into the top 6 that transfer into the Brickyard 400 later on today. If you enjoyed this qualifying race, be sure to give me a like, subscribe to Compart the Crew today. These are your finishing results from the qualifying race, and we'll see you guys later on for the main event, as you've been watching another production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.